Hey, what's up, y'all? Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Thanksgiving week. Got us a shorter week here this week. So let's keep that in mind as we go through our sessions this week, right? Maybe expect a little bit of lower volume as the week goes on. And let's see what we get this week, right? Again, gonna keep, my expectations here in check this week, right? Not really gonna expect any major moves this week. Maybe we get something nice here between today and tomorrow, since tomorrow we have this this drop of the minutes here from FOMC from earlier this month, right? So we could have a little action today and tomorrow, but really expecting this market to kind of go to sleep here. Wednesday, of course, we're closed here on Thursday, and we've got a half-day Friday. So things just to keep in mind this week. Also, before I go away from this, we have NVDA earnings here Tuesday after the bell. Right, so this is going to be a big earnings this week. Just another thing to keep an eye on here. We're still trapped in this range here between 4,500 and 4,550. I believe our recent high is actually about 4,540, if I remember correctly from yesterday. But if you didn't catch my prep yesterday, just gonna slam through a quick one right here. Again, we've got a lot of lower time frame squeezes here on ES as well as our other major indices, right? So really just going to keep my expectations in check here while we're in this range, right? We've got a tight little range here now, started last week after that pop-up, and just kind of holding here, right? We cranked up here on CPI, and now just kind of going sideways here at the top of these daily Keltners, but again, just keep an eye here on these weekly Keltners as well, right? Again, I'm preaching that we have some tough or limited upside here on a daily, but again, just keeping in mind that on a weekly, right, we could still maybe run over 100 points here, or actually about 100 points from where we're at right now. So again, something to keep in mind. I again still think it will be tough here to the upside, but again, I'm just gonna keep playing this wave to the upside, right? Even though I don't really love upside here after such a strong run up, right? I'm not gonna get in the way of this freight train, right? So just keep riding this wave, right? We got the wins in our sales here to the upside so far. We are now flagging here, right? Especially on a weekly, just kind of flagging here. So we could have that rollover here this week. But again, I'm not going to be the first one to that party, right? Let ES come down, test 4,500, right? Let it crack under 4,500. Maybe bounce at this daily 8 exponential moving average. It might get back above 4,500 before actually then really rolling over and giving us true downside, right? We don't have to be the first one to the party, especially if we do get some true downside here soon. It's probably going to be multiple days of it, right? So again, don't have to be the first one in there to the downside. Can just keep playing calls here until it doesn't work, right? Past couple days making it a little bit tough. So again, just be careful while we're in this range, right? I'm going to be slowly just trimming contracts here and trying to pay for positions while we're going sideways, waiting for the eventual breakout. Alright, and Q, again, about the same situation here. Only difference is that we do have a weekly squeeze top up here at about this 16,000 key psych level. Also, NQ here up to this previous peak, right? We still said that we had about 100 points here before ES reached this previous peak. And NQ is there, right? So NQ definitely at a critical point here, right at this 16,000 or this 16,050. So something to keep an eye on, right? If we can't get through the 16,000, we're going to be rolling over. Or again, looking for the breakthrough through 16,000 to go higher. But again, a tough spot in the market here. So as we make trips up to the 16,000, if you're playing these individual tech names here, right, you need to be offloading these long positions pretty decently up to the 16,000, right? By the time we get to 16,000, I just want to have a couple paid runners to keep going, right? Or else we roll over and have to bail out of those long positions. Again, YM, same situation here, right? Here, though, we are holding this 35,000. So again, we got a big key psychological level here in play. And as always, just looking for a nice horizontal level to risk off of. So again, above this 35,000, I like calls. On a weekly chart here, we still have a little bit of room to the upside. And under this 35,000, right, we should have a good short move. Maybe down just to this daily 8 exponential moving average. And again, I'm going to be watching YM and NQ here for some major rotation, right? Just to see if we maybe keep going sideways here, especially on ES, right? So moving on here to some names real quick. Again, looking at these weekly charts, especially on our bigger tech names, right? Especially on our Magnificent 7 that are up here near the highs. But again, got a little more room here on this weekly on Apple to move up. So going to be keeping an eye on this, like this up through 200. But again, tough here on this daily, right? Need a break on this daily. Doesn't mean we get it, right? Doesn't mean we get a pullback, but it could just be a little bit more consolidation as these other moving averages catch up to us. Let's see, look at Amazon here. Amazon one here, I like both ways, right? Already had a nice pullback, almost retested that daily mean. Got a little room here both ways for Amazon. So Amazon one, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on. Google one, I also don't mind both ways. Just kind of slow moving in this gap, right? Kind of annoying, so gonna keep an eye on Google, especially as we get through this daily Ichimoku cloud. But again, Google just an annoying name to play. Really slow ever since that last stock split. But again, in a good spot here. Don't mind it either direction. Meta with a little pullback here in the last couple of days, but still holding up above this 330. This 330 has been really key for Meta, so keep an eye on this, right? I don't mind a bounce here back at this 330 again if we do happen to retest it. But again, Meta, another name here, pretty jacked up, but been a strong name. One here on the weekly that is actually cracking those previous highs. So Meta could have a nice run up here to go higher. Don't mind Meta to the upside. Microsoft with some crazy news here with this whole OpenAI situation. You know, what can I say here? Tough here at the top. Tough at the top of this weekly Kellner study here. But again, has some news, right? Could really rocket higher. But I hate to buy longs here when we're so jacked up already. But again, you know, getting a decent pullback here this morning. Had a little bit of a pullback Friday. Let's see where Microsoft lands here. Maybe gives us a nice push here back up. Netflix, one I just don't like up here. NVDA up to this 500, right? NVIDIA kind of tough at this 500. Gonna keep it simple. If we can crack through it, fine. Got some interest here through this 500 to crack higher, right? If not, expecting a rollover here at this 500. Kind of a tough spot. And last one real quick, Tesla. I do like Tesla both ways. Sitting here right at the daily mean. A little bit pricier on a Monday, but let's see if we get a nice pullback here to this mean again, and we can maybe buy it to go higher. All right, let's jump over to our indices here. And alright, already getting a decent pullback here pre-market, coming down to these open levels really on all of our indices and catching a nice bounce here so far. We do have tick and ADD open here kind of close to zero. ADD opening here at about negative, about a negative 100 here, 115. And tick as well opening down here at about negative 100. So nothing too crazy here from our internals. Let's see if we get some opening chop here, right? Sometimes these weak start to internals kind of lead towards some chop. But getting a nice pop here across the board to start with. NQ really going for it here. But not too far off from this high from Friday, cracking through it now and up to this 2-hour squeeze top. Let's see if the chop begins here. Got these lower time frame squeezes getting tighter across the board. Nice pop higher here for NQ. Still just at that high from Friday, getting into this 2-hour squeeze top. We also have a 4-hour squeeze top up here on NQ. And the high from last week here, tucked into all these squeeze tops as well. Just a little bit shy of 16,000. We had VIX quickly open here, coming down to immediately test 14. Okay. Don't mind that on VIX, immediately giving us a test of a significant level here. So again, y'all, it is Monday, right? Monday of a holiday week. Gonna take it easy this week. We do have minutes tomorrow, right, from our FOMC meeting from the beginning of this month. And again, we have NVIDIA earnings tomorrow after the bell. So we got a couple big things in this short week. And then we of course have Thanksgiving here on Thursday and a half day for the market on Friday. So kind of a tough week here, all right? You know, we do have a shorter week, so if anything, expecting a stronger move here maybe today or tomorrow. But again, we do have the Fed minutes tomorrow as well as NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. So could be some chop leading into that, which is also annoying. So just can't overthink it, right? Just gotta trade like a robot out here. If your setup hits, just manage it appropriately. Keep those expectations in check for sure. And definitely gonna be one of those weeks, right? See green, take green, right? See profit, lock profit. Really nice pop here across the board though. See how our individual names are doing real quick in this pop. See what's popping, see what's not. Apple, nice pop up here, getting up to 190.5. Let's go. Love to see Apple moving here. Right, Apple, our biggest name in the market. AMD a little bit sideways here to start. Amazon, nice pop here. Let's go. Google, nice pop here as well. Getting up to this 135. Okay. Decent little start here for tech, really across the board. Meta popping up to this 340. Wow. Good pop here for Meta. Damn. Chill, baby. Chill. Microsoft also 371 here to about 376 in these opening 5 minutes. Netflix, nice pop up as well, taking about 5 points here. Starting to pull back though. NVDA pulling back. Tesla pulling back here a little bit as well. Some nice moves here. Damn, really nice pump here. NQ up to last week's high here at about 15,980-ish. ES getting up to this high from Friday. And so again, y'all, remember, we're in these tight squeezes here, right? We've got some pretty decent squeezes here, and we're making a rush here up to the top of this range, or near the top of this range at least, pretty quickly here on our indices. So let's see. They could engulf this right back. Again, looking at our major indices here, here's ES, right? The top of our range being currently this 45.41, right? Got up to it again here Friday pre-market, 45.40-ish. And we're kind of getting near here again, 45.33. Let's see if we can crack through this little immediate range and get back up and test these candles up here. But again, if we don't break this range here today, I'm expecting a trip just right back down, right? Maybe not all the way down to here just yet, but at least down to the bottom of this recent range, 45.15-ish, 45.10. Something to keep an eye on here. NQ as well. Oof, NQ going for it here. Cracking above a couple of these lower time frame squeezes and getting right up into this 4-hour squeeze top. We're getting near 16,000 here. Don't think NQ goes by itself here, right? YM catching a nice pop as well, but not quite like NQ. So again, you know, we are popping here together this morning, but don't think there isn't some rotation happening, even if it's not super obvious, right? NQ really going for it here. YM catching a brief pop, but not running away just yet, right? And ultimately keeping ES kind of at bay as well. But let's see, only been about 8 minutes here. Let's see what this run up leads to. And we're getting to some significant levels here, right? ES getting up to last week's high, and quite a few squeeze tops up here, right? NQ also up at this high from last week. So again, let's see if we start to maybe settle here, you know, maybe take a little head fake through these levels and maybe start to roll over here. Getting some interesting moves out of our internals here as well. ADD dropped down to our open range buy zone, starting to get a little pop out of it here. But our other internals looking pretty good here. Tick popping up for a high of day here, about positive 600-ish. Popping with the market, right? That's what we like to see. The dollar dropping here, giving us upside in the market. Looks good. And VIX dropping here, giving us upside in the market. Looks good as well. But again, let's start to see if all these things start to reverse here as we have hit some significant levels and have grinded a bit into these squeeze tops. And again, while we're in these squeezes, right, and we're hitting the top of this range, you know, I'm just going to play with more probabilities here that we maybe come back and visit the bottom. Kind of how we've been doing here these last couple of days, just playing in between these clouds. So let's see if we start to get this pullback here. Again, I'm just going to take a quick look at some names. Apple pulling back a bit here now. AMD pulling back here a little bit more. Looks like chips not getting a lot of love here this morning. Amazon with a nice pop up. It's kind of tough out here. You know, we could get a pullback here pretty soon, but I don't really want to short any of these stronger names, right? Kind of hard to choose which one to short, which one's going to actually give you some downside on the pullback. Netflix looking a little bit weaker here under this 470. But again, been a strong name here. NVDA under this 500. I guess NVIDIA under this 500 I like as a short if we can get through it. But we still have a little bit of room here that we could make a run back up to this 500. So don't exactly love it just yet. Tesla, I like both ways here, especially sitting just above the daily mean. But looking kind of tough here. I do like that chart that was shared this morning in the group, kind of giving us a look at a previous run up for Tesla, and it was kind of setting up the same here. So maybe a little run up for Tesla here. But for now, I'm just going to sit on my hands and just keep collecting some data here. Hey Rose, good morning, good morning. Glad to see you dropping in on us. Always welcome. But alright, continuing to struggle here a little bit at these highs from last week. YM not even at those levels just yet. So again, giving us a little bit of room here for some rotation, right? We could see NQ now start to pull back, YM start to crawl a little bit higher, and maybe test this high from last week. Right, and again, that would then just keep ES here kind of stationary. But our internal's still looking kind of decent here. ADD popping a little bit more. Tick popping up a little bit more as well. Eating some pullbacks, but going a little bit higher. The dollar continuing to drop here. Putting in a low of session here. Yep, Rose, I was thinking the same here. We did get a little downgrade in Tesla this morning from old Jeffries, but we'll see, right? At a good level here. They could hold her up. But again, I can't stress enough here, you know, what we've been talking about these last couple of days, right? Especially here on our indices, right? Our indices being so jacked up right now, especially on this daily chart. You know, it's a little tougher to buy individual names here to the upside as well, especially when they look like this and the market also looks like this. Doesn't mean it won't happen, right? Keep playing what you're playing, and if it's working, keep working it. But just know that upside could continue to be limited until we crack out of these squeezes. But again, for names that you are looking for upside, just keep referring to these weekly charts. They could keep you in the game here, right? A lot of weekly charts looking like this, a little bit more room to the upside still. But again, just can't stress it enough. While we're up here, you know, on these indices, on all these names, upside just gets a little bit tougher, right? Could just be slow grinds higher. Yep, Rose, exactly, right? And that's why I keep referring to those weekly charts, because they do give us a little bit more of a window to see that, we could have some more upside here. But again, as we do get up closer to those weekly highs as well, right? Or those highs from that weekly chart, I do expect upside to just kind of slow down as well, right? As we grind closer to those levels. But we do have a few names cracking through those peaks on a weekly chart, right? I'm gonna look through those again real quick. I know one was like Meta, for example, cracking through the top of these weekly peaks here, right? So really, Meta above this 330 can just keep flying higher. What was another one? NVDA as well, right? NVDA here, looking at this weekly chart again on the top right. NVIDIA right up against this peak here at about 500, right? Key psychological level here. We can crack through this 500 or through this 502, right? NVIDIA could fly. But again, some of these things, right, like NVIDIA, like Meta, might require the whole market for it to actually make that move. So wouldn't be surprised to see if we maybe just end up waiting here on these individual names for the rest of the market to set up and make that move higher. Right? Or again, kind of to Rose's point here, it might not necessarily need to be a pullback, right? Like we've been talking about, but also the other scenario we've been talking about, right? And I've really been stressing this in my preps. We don't necessarily need to have a reversion to the mean, right? An aggressive one. But we could slowly chop here, slowly drift down, right? As the mean slowly catches up to us. Right, and then maybe we just meet somewhere in the middle here, call it 44.50 or so, and then that's considered as our pullback, right? Again, something else I've been stressing here big time are these previous zones of consolidation. On our run back up here from ES down from these lows, right, I was stressing that we were going to see some turbulence when we got back to this zone right here. Right, and sure enough, when we got back up here, we went sideways for a couple days here at about this 43.50, 4400 or so. So again, maybe we once again get a retest of maybe the top of this zone, right? Let's call it here about 44.30 or even 44.50, a little bit higher, right? But that could be an easy retest for us that we slowly drift down to. Moving averages slowly drift up to, and then we tap all of these things at the same time here and then go higher, right? And it only becomes a slight pullback to buy the dip. And the trend is never broken, right? But over the course of a couple days, it can be hard to see that, right? So something just to keep in mind. That we could just continue to have slow price action up here. And again, I was just looking for little signs here throughout the day to kind of give us the hint that it could be kind of a slow day, right? Take an ADD were a good sign of that this morning. Tick opened to damn near zero, ADD as well. Right, so that means a pretty even tug of war here amongst individual names, kind of just keeping everything at bay. Right, we did get a nice pop here so far this morning, but now up to some key levels and just kind of holding, right? And also up against a bunch of lower time frame squeeze tops as well as some 4-hour ones, right? So again, this could prove to be some strong resistance and send us back down into this range. And so again, you know, just can't really say I love any of these setups, especially while we're sitting way up here, you know, even with these individual names. Just crank through them one more time here. Apple holding up pretty decent here, trying to bounce up again. AMD not doing much. Amazon trying to hold this 146-ish after that bounce up. Don't mind it. Google here trying to hold this 135. Okay, okay. Right, could still, again, continue to make this run to really close, or to really fill this gap here. Google, I don't mind to the upside here. Cheaper name here on a Monday, too. Not a bad one. Meta, still going, baby. Damn, Meta is the play here. We throw Meta here into what I'm trying to watch. Not this. Here. And let's check out some of these contracts. Let's see. JBot said he was playing the 350 call. Let's see that, baby. Oh, cheap one too, my guy. Meta already, or actually Meta, I'm sorry, this 350 call for Meta opened here in our B zone. At about 50 cents, making a nice run up here to 80 cents. Definitely some distance here from this 334, 335-ish where we opened, but definitely crawling up to it now, getting up here to this 340 on Meta. Let's see what something a little closer looks like. 345 call. Oof, that open level right on our B zone, right near a buck. Let's go. Right up to our open range sell zone. Rejected it once, came back. Coming up and trying to test it again here at a buck 85. Really nice move here on this 345 call from about a buck. Got a 2-hour squeeze here on Meta. We're starting to crack through. A 4-hour we're up against right now, up at this 340. I like it. I like it. Again, don't know if it's going to crack through here without the rest of the market, but Meta definitely giving the nod that she's ready. Oh, and cracking a little bit higher here for NQ and a little bit higher for ES. YM still lagging here. And VIX dropping a little bit more. Let's see if we keep getting this upside. And again, y'all, you know, I keep saying it, right? Stressing that upside is tough here where we're at in the market, but what else do I keep saying, right? Keep playing it until it doesn't work. Right, we got the wins in our sales here to the upside still, even if it's just slightly, right? Still working here, still working. And Q up to this 16,000, got right up in here. Still only been 25 minutes here into this week. Right, so stay frosty up here, y'all. Could still get a nice rollover here and a trip back down. Let's see, not looking to short Meta here, but let's just see. Got a lot of puts lighting up here at Beast for Meta. Let's just see what one of these puts looks like right here. Just gathering information here as always. Damn, we got our destination sell zone down here over our B zone. But even then, still not down to that B zone, so could keep going higher here. Gonna keep peeking here at individual names. Apple's still trying to hold this 191. AMD popping up here again, just a bit. Amazon still trying to hold this 146. Not much movement here. Google here filling this gap, right, back up here. Again, could be a spot that we roll over here. Getting back up to where we closed here on Friday. Google now flat on the day here. Meta through this 340. Damn. Chill, baby. Chill. Microsoft, probably just not going to touch Microsoft here with all of this volatile news. But holding up here. Netflix still below this 470. NVIDIA coming back a little bit after that dip. Tesla not really going anywhere. Nothing really going anywhere here that crazy, right? Meta taking off by itself. Google coming back up to fill that gap. Apple holding up decent in this little pop, but still coming back now. Trying to hold right at that 191. I can't really say I love anything here at this point. But we're smashing higher here. ES crawling higher. YM getting that pop up. And NQ going a little bit higher as well. Right, kind of taking turns here in the pops, right? NQ, the initial stronger pop, started to go a little sideways. YM catching up here a little bit. But we're going just a little bit higher here. Again, the top of our range here on ES, on that 30-minute chart I've been showing, is about 45.41, and we're here, right? Definitely a spot where we could roll over. Or we crack through this, we have a nice run higher. Right, but we're definitely at a key critical level here. Again, NQ's at 16,000, critical level. ES at this previous 45.40 and damn near this 45.50. Right, this is gonna be a critical zone right here. And YM getting through this 35,000. Right, we got some key levels here. Let's see. We are up here at our destination sell zone from our beast tool as well on NQ, right? Could add a little bit of resistance here. And ES up to this 45.41.5 here. Again, gonna pull up this 30-minute chart here I keep showing. Zoom this out a bit, not that much. And again, we're here, right, at this peak. A little kiss through it here at 45.41.5. So again, a critical level here. Do we start to fire all these squeezes to the upside and run through 45.50? Or do we end up rolling back over? We got this 10-day point of control here at 45.22. Let me see where I have this 15-day. I'm gonna move this up here. 45.22 is what I just said. Works. So again, we're just chopping right through here through this point of control, right? So this point of control will continue to be a good target here within this range to come back to, right? Maybe crack through and go to the other side of the range. So let's see. I'm gonna take a little look at specs here. Whoa. And let's just see what these contracts look like here for specs. Got puts right at the money here, lighting up for SPX. Couple calls a little farther out as well. Let's just check out like this 45.15 for now, and maybe like this 45, maybe this 40. Kind of cheap here. And on the call side, we'll check out, what did I say? 45.45. Oh, nice little move here for these calls. 40 cents up to $1.25 here. Let's get a little closer maybe. Gotta go a little pricier here for SPX. Bottom of our beast zone here with an open level near this buck and up over $2 now. I like that. So again, y'all, gonna keep preaching it here, but up to the top of this range, right? Again, we have a lot of squeeze tops, a couple things here to give us resistance, so wouldn't be surprised at all if we now make a trip to the bottom of this range. But again, I'm not going to be the first one in to that party. The whole market has been strong, currently still giving an upside look. Right? We could get a rollover, but that doesn't mean it happens right now. So let's see here, right? Gonna give this time to either start rolling over and then I jump into puts, or I'm just gonna keep letting this drift higher and not be in any positions, right? Not looking to buy longs here as we're already so jacked up. But I'm also not looking to be the first one to short. So again, I'm just gonna sit on my hands and keep letting this just shake out, right? I expect price action to be slower here at the top of a range, just as I expect price action to be slower once we get to the bottom of the range, right? As they decide, do they reverse to stay in the range or do they break out of the range? Whether that be top or bottom, right, the scenario will be similar. We do have ADD getting up here to the top of our open range zone here, right? Up to our open range sell zone, slowing down a little bit. VIX finally giving us a green candle here. YM with a little crack higher though to get up to this high from yesterday. Let's see, and just above that is the high from last week. So it could say YM is here completing the mission that our other indices have already completed. Little crack through, gonna hit this high from last week, of course, here on YM. Couple more points. And a nice little crack through that level and getting up here to this 4-hour squeeze top. We also have a 2-hour squeeze top here on YM. So our major indices here completing the mission to at least the highs from last week. ADD here with a little bit of a pop higher. Fully testing here now our open range sell zone, going back positive as well. We're starting to be met with more little rejections here. Ooh, and a good call here from the professor. VIX near the lows here from last week. So again, we're at the highs here on the indices from the last week. VIX at its lows, right? Dollar starting to pop here. Again, I don't want to be here screaming a reversal, right? I don't want to lead anyone to being the first one into this party. But again, I'm just fully aware that we're at a great level for a reversal. These meta puts here agreeing, these SPX puts also kind of agreeing here, getting down to our B zones. And a little crack higher here from ES, but again being met with a little rejection. And Q getting a couple more rejections here as well. But again, just being super patient up here, y'all. You know, again, I don't really love any individual names. Times like this, I tend to just play some SPX or SPY. If you have a smaller account, definitely recommend SPY. But again, those are very, very delicate on timing as well, right? While they do become simpler trades, we get to sideways here for a little bit, and those 0-day expiration contracts are going to take damage here on both sides. So again, just deciding to sit on my hands for right now, especially while we're here in this tougher position in the market. Again, let's hop back through these names, see how we're doing here. I'll go from the bottom this time, see what Tesla's up to. Again, just kind of seeing it here, right? Tesla not really doing anything. A drop, a pop, a drop. Sitting here at about this 233. Again, for Tesla, looking for a bounce here, right, to hold this gap and get back up and retest this daily Ichimoku bottom right here. Vidi running back up here. See, we were just talking about this, right? I like the short for Vidi at 500, but again, you know, if we're down at 492, 491, plenty of room to play up to that 500. So again, timing is everything. Right? I could say that NVIDIA is going to have a short move here at 500, but when, right? When? Don't know. But again, NVIDIA, one of those names, going to keep bringing this up as well here on this weekly chart, that could crack its weekly highs, right? Or its highs here from this weekly chart to go higher. So NVIDIA one, I like both ways here right at this 500. Netflix, another one that has a little bit more room to run to the upside here on a weekly, but again, just tough to buy this to the upside after such a strong run up. Doesn't mean it won't do it though. Microsoft not doing much here. Again, I'm going to leave Microsoft alone with all this Sam Altman news being kind of crazy. And Meta holding up here. Meta looking good to the upside. Again, this is a weekly chart right here. Cracking through these previous peaks and trying to go higher, right? I really like any buy we can get if it's down, back down to this 330. You know, or down to like this daily 8 exponential moving average, right? Some good buying opportunities down here if Meta does pull back. Google still battling in this gap, of course, but I do like Google here holding this daily Ichimoku cloud, right? Nice bounce at it here so far this morning, right at the bottom. Also got that daily 50 here tucked in, giving us some more support here near the bottom of this daily Ichimoku cloud. And again, looking to come back up and still finish filling this gap. Amazon not doing much here. Still love Amazon both ways here. But again, it could be a timing thing, so I don't love it like right this second. And Apple, another one here that has a little bit more room on the weekly to run up. But again, just tough here at these highs. Trying to pull back here a little bit more and keep pulling back a bit. ES as well. But yeah, very difficult spot here to go long or to go short, right? I like the risk reward to the downside, but tough to short here, such a strong market. But as always, knowing all that, right, just have to keep all of that in mind and keep our reality in check here, right? Can totally play some shorts here, right? They just might be short-lived as well. Just gotta remember to see profit, lock profit, right? Get down to key points and trim those short positions if you do have short positions. ADD crawling higher here as well, getting through our open range sell zone and through our beast zone right here. Let's see if ADD just keeps running to the upside. And tick just mostly holding positive here, right? Not really giving us too strong of a downside look, even as we start to give a little bit of a downside look here in our indices. But again, just like some price action we saw last week, right? Strong pop up here in at the open, and then maybe just some consolidation here for most or the rest of the day. ADD popping a little bit higher here. Tick bouncing again. Dollar trying to pull back here. VIX with a nice pop up to our open range buy zone and rejecting it to come back down. So again, y'all, just tough price action out here. Tough spot for the market. Still no trades for me this morning, and I am very pleased about it. Right? Again, you don't have to be in a trade at all times. You certainly don't have to trade every single day. But it of course helps to come, sit down, and sharpen that sword every day, right? Getting a decent pop here from tick and ADD. ADD up to positive 400 now. Let's see if this little pullback is met with a bounce here. Definitely our internals pointing towards it, right? ADD going higher still, up to 450 here. VIX sitting right at low of day. And these lows from last week. Just gonna take a little peek at SPY here. See how SPY is doing with these contracts. Let's check out some SPY contracts here. We'll just go right up to the money here. This 452 put. Still a little bit before it gets to beast. Let's just look at this 450. Below beast. Ooh, don't love that. And nothing on this 451. Let's check out these calls. Let's check out this 453 to start with. It's just sitting in beast. Oof. You know, we could go higher here. Get a little closer to this 452. Decent move already made there. Let's stretch it out to 455. We don't have it, but above that open level. And this 454 sitting right at the bottom of our B zone. Shoot though, some calls here. Sitting in beast, so yeah, we could totally go higher here, even just by looking at these daily contracts here. Oh, NQ dipping here a little bit lower. YM trying to come back a bit. ES a tiny bit as well. Oh, it's starting to drop here a little bit. Tick coming down to 0. And so can't stress it enough, y'all, about the timing of what we play here, right? Of course, we're playing short-term options, or if you're playing futures, you know how that goes as well here on having to time your move correctly. And so again, we're starting to get this little bit of a pullback here, right, which could really interest us short, but it doesn't mean we're not met with a pop here. We come back up and consolidate some more, and then maybe eventually get that rollover later in the day if we don't get it right now, right? That's just something very typical we see. Making a nice little pullback here though so far. A decent reach for tick here coming down below 0. Hop back over to some calls here on specs. What did I have up earlier? 45, 45. Oh, no. It would help if I put the C, right? Alright. Oh, and this 45, 45 getting right back down to this 40 cents. Might have to take a little shot here on this baby just because it's so cheap. 45.40 maybe, down near buck here. I like this buck. Buck 14. And wouldn't be surprised that we get a little bounce here right at this high from Friday, right? Down to this 5-minute 21 here on ES as well. 5-minute 21 on YM, 5-minute 21 on NQ. Let's see if they give us one more little press down. Jump into this baby. I'll take a little shot here at a buck 15. Start with 1. Right, and again, you know, if I am wrong here, I'll quickly know. You know, if we get down to VWAP, I'm gonna bail out of this, or I'm gonna average down through VWAP. If we crack below, then we'll bail out of here. But again, don't want to overthink it, right? Because this is where we're at. A very tough spot, which leads to a lot of overthinking, right? We're up at all these squeeze tops, so technically we should get a larger time frame short. But again, we're just playing with the trend here and trying to go higher. So really, which side is best here? No idea, right? No effing clue. But we're at a good level to put on some risk. Just gonna take a shot in a direction, right? Gonna keep playing this trend here. If it doesn't work, that's fine, right? I'm fully aware that at this point we could break down and we'll bail out. And even still, right, a very, very possible scenario here is going sideways, right? So I'm definitely not going to bag hold this for too long either. You know, I'm in at a $1.15. I'm not going to be too greedy with it, right? If I can get a $1.60 out of this, $1.70, I'm out. You know, I'm good. If I can average down at about $1, I'll pick up a second one. But again, not going to overthink it here, not going to be greedy here as well, right? Knowing that it could just be a short-lived pop back up. But VIX coming down, giving us a fresh low of day print, a tiny one. Tick bouncing to try and stay positive. Getting us a little bounce here, and we're cranking a little bit of green right here. But again, can't stress it enough, right? Tough spot in the market. Keeping my position size small, right? Keeping my stress low. If I make some lunch money, great. If I have to bail out and lose a tiny bit of lunch money, no problem either. Especially with where we're at in the market, right? Not swinging for home runs right now. I'm just swinging for base hits, right? I'm just trying to buy my CMG here for later on today. Nice little pop up here, nothing too crazy. And let's see if this pop is, you know, kind of short-lived as well. Going to be interested in these puts. Let's maybe get a little bit farther, something a little cheaper here. Ooh, this 45.10 at a $1.60 down here. I like this. I think I'm going to pick up one of these as well here at about a $1.06. And just see if I can let both of these work here for a minute, right? I'm going to take some profits here, maybe at a $1.50. Let's see if I get another little pop out of this, and then hopefully this put starts to work here. But again, hyper aware that a very real scenario here is going sideways and none of this works, right? Really annoying. But again, I'm just looking for lunch money here. I'm going to take this here at a $1.06. If it lets me. $1.55, let's go. Right, and again, I'm taking this quickly just because I'm expecting not really a crazy move here in either direction. So I'm okay with just a little bit of lunch money here. Right, and again, I have a put here now that I'm going to focus on. See if this pop is short-lived and we continue lower. Again, I do personally at least ultimately like the downside play better. But the upside has been, you know, overall nonstop. But gonna give this a little bit of a chance to work here. So again, picked up a little bit of lunch money here on this call. Starting to pick up a little bit of lunch money here on this put. And again, not gonna be super greedy here with this, right? If I can get up to VWAP or get up to the top of this zone, which actually would be like a double, right? I'm super satisfied with that. Because again, I'm really just not expecting any insane moves right now. Tick dropping here a little bit more, staying negative after this bounce. ADD pulling back a little bit. And just sitting slightly green on my put, right? So not stressing anything yet. Again, not surprised just to keep seeing some chop here, right? I at least allowed some chop to happen here before jumping in. So at least gaining a little more confidence here that this could pop. After settling here for a couple minutes. A little pop up here, taking me a little bit negative, but again, just nothing crazy. But to the point that I keep talking about, right? Timing is everything here, especially for something like SPX. So again, you know, I wanted to wait a little bit, let this happen some. I got in, right? Hoping that this consolidation is going to come to an end soon, right? I ultimately don't care if I'm wrong, right? I just don't want to sit in here forever waiting to be wrong, right? I want to let it happen a little bit. I get in late into the consolidation, and hopefully I quickly know if I'm right or wrong, and I can move on with my life. Having a little pop back up here to this 45.40 on ES. Ooh, and popping a little bit more. Down to $1.04 on this contract. Again, we've already been here. So just gonna keep holding here. I produced a little wiggle room here from the call to see if I can take this put higher. And I'm just going to hold here for a few more minutes. Would like to see ES stay under this 45.40, right? We're right up against it right now. See if we put in a lowercase h right here. But again, the overall trend here has been this, right? A nice strong pop-up, a little tiny pullback, try to hold, and then and then a crawl higher, right? We just keep crawling higher. So again, hyper aware that that could be the situation and that I might need to bail out of this put. getting a little tough here to see through these squeeze tops, but again, just kind of gives us, you know, a visual representation of the fact that we have a wall here, right? That we have a lot of resistance here. And that price action should, right, reverse and stay within this clear zone, right, and get out of these clouds. Like we've been seeing here the past couple of days, right? Ultimately, yeah, we will crack it in one direction or another, but the question continues to be when, right? When does this happen? Again, we have FOMC tomorrow afternoon in the session, right? They're dropping those minutes from earlier this month. Could be the gas we need to break out of this range. And we're in a pretty decent range, right? So really, today's work, right, and they could say they made a move, is easily just getting right back down to 4,500. We're up about 10 points on ES right now. So getting us down to 4,500 would be, you know, being down less than 30 points on the day for ES. Really not a big deal. If we are to visit, for example, the bottom of this range. Do also like this point of control here in our open range buy zone at on ES. A great target to the downside here if we start to drop. And still just sitting here right at my entry on this put, right? So I don't mind seeing this, right? Still just holding the bottom of this beast zone here as the market decides which direction it wants to go. Nice little bounce for tick back up here. Getting back above zero. ADD little bounce here, trying to get back up to this 450 or so. But again, a really tough trading environment up here, right? Gonna see a lot of sideways action here, especially on a short week. Could continue to just go pretty sideways. Popping up here a little bit. Seeing some fresh lows on this put. Let's see. I'm not going to hold this for too long. Again, right? Because again, I'm not expecting any insane moves here, right? Could easily be a crawl up. You know, I eventually bail out of this put. Maybe it comes back down. And maybe it just chops here most of the day, right? Or slowly fades into expiration. So again, you know, even if I do ultimately get stopped out of this, and then it goes my direction later, I'm not going to really stress it too much because I know that the moves here could be limited today, and ultimately it's just not really worth bag holding it for so long. But yes, still trying to stay under 45.40 here. Volume pretty low here all morning. A little bit stronger in NQ here this morning. But looking like some holiday volume here already, early into the week. Crawling a little bit higher here on ADD. VIX staying pretty low as well. And again, little pops here being met with little rejections, not really going anywhere. Starting to pop a little bit higher here. This call getting back up, ooh, and through where I sold it at. And alright, if we do start to really pop here, I will bail out of this put. But let's see, again, just being met with little rejections here. Right, the call's being met with a little rejection here. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my session. I'll leave y'all here a couple minutes early. But again, just be careful with this sideways action here, right? We're starting to maybe pop up here a little bit, but again, being met with a lot of little rejections could ultimately go nowhere, right? Or maybe we do get that rollover, but again, can't size in and be the first one to this party. Right, in this downside, took a little call, made a little lunch money, right? Trying to make these puts work and trying to help pay for the put side, but looking tough here, right? Again, you know, the short moves just not really easy, right? They're not coming easy. So just stay frosty out here, y'all. Continue to be careful as we pop higher here, right? Don't want to get caught in this mess. Keep your size small, keep your stress low. But alright, y'all, much love. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving week here. Remember to spend a good amount of time away from these screens with your family, with your loved ones, you know. And keep this garbage out of the dinner table conversations, right? Have a good time this week, y'all. But alright, y'all, much love, and I will catch y'all later.